Hi guys, today I have an awesome video for you about the Yssaril Tribes and how you can get a good start with them in your next game of Twilight Imperium. As you may know, this is the action card faction, and when you play as these, you must accept a higher level of randomness compared to the other factions. So make sure to get as many action cards as possible to increase the chance that you actually get the ones that you need. But first, let's look at what you need to accomplish in the first round. So in your first round, you need to gain control of 2 or 3 systems depending on what strategy card you pick. You need to make good use of one of your faction abilities called stall tactics. You also need to build a few more units in your home system. And let me give you an example of how you can achieve exactly this. For the first round, you want the politics strategy card. This card isn't usually the top pick for most factions, so you have a good chance at getting it. And the reason why you want this card is that you get 2 action cards that you can use to deploy your mechs to explore hazardous planets, and they will also help you protect your slice. So let's see what the first round can look like. And I think as the very first action we do is to actually play the politics card. It says choose a player other than the speaker that play against the speaker token. So we will take that immediately. Then we get to draw 2 action cards, but because we have this scheming faction ability, when you draw 1 or more action cards, draw 1 additional action card, then choose and discard 1 action card from your hand. So we actually get to draw 3 of them, like so. And the last thing is that we can look at the 2 top cards of the agenda deck, but that's not really relevant for now, so I will skip that. But let's see what we got here. The first one is insubordination. It's an action. Remove 1 token from another player's tactic pool and return it to the reinforcements. And this is a really powerful action card, and if you want to make an early enemy, then you can actually play this in the very first round and make their first round pretty bad. But I don't think it's a good idea to make enemies this early in the game. And then we have an exploration probe. It's also an action. Explore frontier token that is in or adjacent to a system that contains 1 or more of your ships. And we are pretty lucky here because we got a frontier token right here next to our home system with plenty of ships in it. And the third one is nav seed. After you activate a system, during the movement step of this tactical action, ignore the effects of anomalies. And that would basically mean that we could fly into the supernova up here if we wanted to do that, or we could fly into an asteroid field without having anti-mass deflectors. But I don't think that's really relevant for now, so I'll discard that one and keep these 2. And that was our turn for now, so let's pass it along. And now it gets to be us again. And I want to use the stall tactics faction ability. It's an action. Discard 1 action card from your hand. And even though this is a really good action card, it won't help us in the first round, so I want to discard that. And when we use the stall tactics faction ability, then we can deploy our mechs. It says after you use your stall tactics faction ability, you may place 1 mech on a planet you control. Let's do that. Like so. And that was our second action. We'll pass the turn along. And now it gets to be our third action. So we can now activate out here. Move a carrier. 2 infantry, a mech and a cruiser out here. And the reason why I wanted a mech this early in the game is because we have this hazardous planet here. So when we explore this, we have almost 50% chance of getting something better with a mech on it. So this is a core mine. If you have at least 1 mech on this planet, or if you remove 1 infantry from this planet, gain 1 trade good. So let's do that here. That's awesome. And we could also explore the other planet. I won't do that for now. And now it gets to be the warfare player's turn, and he plays the warfare strategy card, and we want to do the secondary of that. It says spend 1 token from your strategy pool to use the production ability of 1 of your space docks in your home system. So we will spend a token here, and now we have 4 resources to build for. We got the trade good here, then we have 2 resources on this planet and 1 resource here for 4 in total. And for those 4 I want to build a cruiser, a destroyer and 2 infantry. And that was the warfare player's turn, and everybody else has built. And now it gets to be us again. And in this turn we play the exploration probe action card, so we get to explore this frontier token. So let's see what we get here. Lost crew, draw 2 action cards. And again, because of the scheming faction ability, we get to draw 3 action cards, and then we need to discard 1. So let's see what we've got. We have cripple defenses. It's also an action. Choose 1 planet, destroy each PDS on that planet. Seize artifact. An action, choose one of your neighbors that has one or more relic fragments. That player must give you one relic fragment of your choice. That could be useful soon. Sanction, after an agenda is revealed, you cannot vote on this agenda. I don't think we should keep this agenda one for now, so I'll discard that. And that was our turn. And now most of the other players have probably passed. So now it gets to be us again. And I again want to use the stall tactics faction ability, so we can discard one action card from our hand. And I'll take this crippled defenses. And then we get to deploy another mech. And now it gets to be us again. So now it's finally time to move out once more. And we will bring a lot of plastic with us this time. Like so. And that was it for the first round. So now we have gained control of 2 systems here. We have built some units in our home system. And we have also used our stall tactics faction ability to get some mechs out. And I think this is a fairly good first round for the Yssaril Tribes. There are a lot of randomness in this example, especially when it comes to what action cards you get. And if you don't have a hazardous planet adjacent to your home system, I would consider getting another strategy card. So as one of the final tips, I will talk about alternative and sometimes better strategy cards for round 1. But now I want to highlight a big limitation this faction has and what you need to do about it. There is no upper limit on how many action cards you can have in your hand, but the action cards by themselves won't score you any points. You will also need a few decent fleets to do that. And this is where the issue comes in. If we take a closer look at your home system, you can see it's a 2-resource planet, and that means with your space dock you can only build up to 4 units at a time. And I don't think this is enough to both protect your slice, but also to have the fleet that actually can utilize all your action cards. So what I would suggest you to do is to build a forward dock in round 2 or maybe round 3 at the latest, so you can have those extra ships out there to actually help you score victory points. And in the next segment of this video, I will show you what action cards can help you exactly do that. So there are 120 action cards in the game, and I've divided them into these 4 groups. In the first group, we have all the combat related ones, and there are 49 here. Then we got 29 that says action, and when you have one of these cards in your hand, then they either do something good for you or something bad for the player you played against. Then down here we got 23 that are related to the agenda phase, and finally we got 19 in the miscellaneous pile. But the ones I want to highlight is the ones that are related to combat, and I want to highlight 6 of them because there are 4 of each. The first one is a flank speed. It says after you activate a system, apply +1 to the move value of each of your ships during this tactical action. So that helps you move around the board. Then we have a morale boost that basically gives you a +1 to all your units' combat rolls in a given combat round. Then you have a shields holding, so you can cancel up to 2 hits against your units. You got maneuvering jets, where you can cancel 1 hit made from a space cannon. You have a skilled retreat, so if you're about to lose a battle, then you can retreat and hopefully save some of your units. And lastly, we got direct hit, and these are played against dreadnoughts, flagships or warsons because they have the sustained damage ability. So if the other player uses that, then you can play this card and then you will destroy the unit anyway. And then we got the remaining 25 that are only 1 of each, but you will probably also get some of those during the game. But the reason why I want to highlight all of these combat ones is because that's almost half of the action cards in the game, and then it would also be almost half of the ones you have in your hand. And there are 20 stage 1 public objectives, but 6 of them are all related to controlling some area, either controlling planets, that's the first 5, and you could also have one or more ships in 2 systems that are adjacent to Megaton Rex. And when this comes out, it usually gets pretty crowded in there, so you will also have to shoot your way through. And the same here, you will also need to use some ships and some ground forces to take control of those planets. And that's why I think you need fleets to support your action cards. So now you know why I highlighted this big production limitation that the Yssaril Tribe got, and you also know what to do about it. And now you also know what action cards you can get. Next, I will talk about which technologies are the best ones for the Yssaril Tribe. None of your units got any special abilities, so I think you need to improve them through technology. So I would start with getting Sarween tools so that you get a production discount every time you build. Then next up I would go for either Dark Energy Tap or Anti-Mass Deflectors, depending on your map slice. Do you have a lot of empty space, or do you have any asteroid field that you need to go into or fly through? Then I would go for Gravity Drive to help your slow units move a little faster, and that would especially be your carriers. After that, I will go for the Dreadnought 2 unit upgrade, both so they can move 2 systems instead of 1, but also so that other players cannot play direct hit action cards against them. After this, I think there are 2 paths you can go. You can either continue in the blue path, or you can switch over to the green one and chase your faction techs. But if you stay in the blue one, you could go for fleet logistics, so that you can make 2 actions on every turn. And ultimately you can get light wave deflectors so that all of your ships can fly through other players' ships, just like your flagship can. Or you can go green, and then I will probably start with biostems so that you can unexhaust technologies, which can be very useful for when you get your major implants, but I'll come to that in a second. After biostems, I would go for transparent steel plating so that other players cannot play action cards against you when they have passed. And lastly, we have major implants, where you get to look at other players' action cards and you can select the best one for you. And then you can actually use that action card against them. And if you have the biostems tech, you can unexhaust major implants, and then you can do it twice in every round. I have read other faction guides about this, and most of them suggest that you get the faction techs early. But I don't think they are as useful for you when you don't have the fleets to support you. So that's why I recommend first building your fleets, researching blue tech, and then getting your faction techs. Alright, enough about tech for now. Did you know that you have the best agent in the game? Let me show you why. I haven't mentioned the agent yet, and that's because it says this card has the text ability of each other player's agent, even if that agent is exhausted. And since there are 24 other factions or agents in the game, then I didn't want to incorporate any of those into this faction guide. But definitely have a look at them, because most of them will be relevant during the game. So I suggest you to write down the exact text of each of them and put them next to your leadership for easy reference. Then you don't have to borrow it from the other players all the time, also giving away that you're considering using them. And maybe you're even lucky that you can use one of them in the very first round, and then by all means do that. Earlier in this video I demonstrated how the first round could go with the politics strategy card. Next I'll cover the alternatives that could be a better pick for your specific upcoming game. So what are the alternatives to the politics strategy card? Well, if you have a resource heavy planet adjacent to your home system, you could go for the construction strategy card, so that you get to build 1 space dock and 1 PDS there, and that will help you solve your production limit issues I mentioned earlier. Alternatively, you could go for the public objectives. There is one where you need to spend 3 command counters from your tactic or strategy pool, and leadership will help you with that. There are also 2 public objectives about spending either 5 trade goods or 8 resources, and here the trade strategy card will be your friend. It will give you 3 trade goods and any additional deals that you make. Or you could also go for construction here, because there are also 2 public objectives about having 3 or 4 structures on the game board, and of course this will help you with exactly that. And thirdly, you could go for warfare, so that you get to unlock one of the systems you have activated, and then you can grab a third one. Just be careful spreading out too thinly, because that will make you an easy target. So what strategy card you choose to pick is entirely up to your personal preference and playstyle. Personally, I would get the politics strategy card if I have 1 or more hazardous planet adjacent to my home system. And alternatively, I would get construction to build that forward dock and solve that production limit issue. So the Yssaril Tribes is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get, and that makes them so much fun to play. And with that said, thank you for watching. Good luck with your next game, and you can watch more content here.